everybody, I'm Shannon Tupes, guest educator with Andis, and I am in beautiful but chilly Southwest Virginia. This is Miley, and today I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks that I do in order to get the perfect Yorkie head. Of course, Miley is a pet. I've been grooming her for a very long time. She's an old gal, so she's about 12 or 13 years old. She does best without having a restraint around her neck, and so I always keep a hand on her for safety, so that's why I'm not using a grooming loop on her today, but you will notice my hand is always on her at all times, so safety is always first. So anyway, with Miley, she's on about every 5 to 6 week schedule, and like I said, I've been grooming her for most of her life, and a few things that I use that are staples with every dog that I do. And that is going to be my Andis slicker brush. I love these brushes. I use them all the time. And my poodle comb from Andis. And I have to tell you, I was thinking about this last night. I couldn't tell you how many thousands of dogs that I've groomed with the Andis poodle comb. From Yorkies to Bichons to Doodles and all Great Pyrenees. This comb has taken me through everything. And I love this comb. One, because it is durable. I'm one to drop things a lot, unfortunately. This comb has probably dropped over 1,000 times. It's still in great condition. But I love this comb also because it separates and divides the coat. And so prep work is key, and you gotta have the prep work down as far as a clean dog, completely dried and completely brushed out and tangle free. And this comb is my go-to comb in order to help me achieve that perfect finish on any dog that I do. So the poodle comb, I love it. I use it every day. And then of course, the Pulse ZR, I love this, and I'll get into a little bit more of that later. And then I'm also going to be using a few of the attachment combs from Andis. Spring-loaded, stainless steel. Again, they are a staple in any dog that I groom. So I'm going to start out with, again, Miley. She's been groomed 100,000 times and is just a wonderful little girl. So I'm going to start with the ears first. So I like to tip my ears and kind of set all of that stuff in before I go into doing any kind of clipper work and scissor work on the head. And I use a 30 blade, and again, I use the clipper, the Pulse. It's great because also it's cordless, and so it doesn't keep me attached to a wall or anything like that. And she's really good, but I will go about 1/3 of the way down the ear, and I do that on the inside and the outside. And in order to just get a nice clean line. You can use a 30 blade or a 40 blade. If you have a dog that's not used to being groomed, then by all means a 10 blade works just fine. But I like to keep my lines a little bit more crisp and make these ears really pop. So just make sure you have it flat up against the skin when you do that. And then you can see I went 1/3 of the way down the ear, and the reason I didn't go down any further is Miley's ear set's a little bit wide. She is cute, but we always want to hide any of those little faults that we can in order to make her groom stand out. So with going 1/3 of the way down the ear, that way I can leave some of this ear fringe in order to mask the fact that her ear set is a little bit wide. And then another thing, in order to edge the ear, I just take my Pulse with the 30 blade and I just gently edge it off. Make sure you go flat. You never want to go up this way or you're going to have an accident. And I prefer not to use scissors when I'm edging the ears, especially on a dog that I don't know, because again, safety is key. So as you can see, I've just tipped her ears 1/3 of the way down the ear, and I've left all of this ear fringe to hang for now. And then the other place that I come in with the 30 blade is just right between the eyes, and that's just to keep everything nice and clean. It also helps them so they're not tear staining as much and their eyes aren't running. And again, I like to use the 30 blade. You can use a 40 blade if you're not comfortable with that. 10 blade from Andis works just fine as well. And again, the Andis Pulse, I like to use them on the face because they're so quiet. The dogs don't even flinch or get upset with a pair of loud clippers coming toward their face. So yeah, another advantage of why the Pulse is a great choice to use. So I've now tipped the ears, and then I've come in and right between the eyes, I've just cleaned that out. And one thing to note, I never go all the way down the muzzle, and the reason I don't do that is because I want to keep the face kind of pretty. And unless they have like a lot of tearing or a lot of eye debris coming in and their faces are really dirty. I want to leave a little bit of this hair in here just to kind of keep a little bit of fluff and a little bit of lift going down the muzzle in case the dog's muzzle goes down and not at a 90-degree angle, which is what the standard calls for. So anyway, ears have been tipped now, right between the eyes, and then now we're ready for moving right on with the head. So I take my comb, and again, love the comb, and I brush forward, and I really go just a little bit in front of the occiput, maybe about the width of your finger in front of the occiput. So the occiput's right here, and I come about one width of the finger down, and I brush all of that forward. And the reason I'm brushing that forward is I'm gonna leave this hair for me to come back and trim later with a pair of thinning shears. I just take my yellow comb, which is a 0 comb, and again, these are spring-loaded, they're fabulous stainless steel attachment combs. And I'm gonna literally just skim all of this gold hair, and just, it kind of layers this in and gives it just a softer look. And Miley's coat is a true silk coat, so sometimes you have to be real careful with that because it will show clipper marks, it will show a lot of scissor marks. So I try to keep everything nice and natural when I'm working with a dog that has a silk coat. If you have a Yorkie that's coat's cottony, you know, a lot more scissoring and clipping actually can be done without seeing all of your work. But with a dog that has a true silk, you have to be kind of careful and just skim everything off. The way you can tell if the dog's coat is a true silk or not, one, it's going to have a lot of shine to the coat, and it will reflect light. Also, the coat is cool to the touch, whereas a cottonier coat is warmer to the touch. And with Yorkies, especially the pets that come into my salon, I see cotton-coated Yorkies. I also see a lot of Yorkies that have the true silk coat. So it does make a difference on what tools and what attachment comb lengths I'm going to choose when I'm working on one of the dogs. But with her coat being a true silk, like I said, I use the yellow comb, which is a 0, and I just come in and I skim lightly and just to kind of layer, and then make sure you wrap around the back of the ear too. And let me just show you. That way you have, come here, pretty girl. I know. Let me see, just so you can see. That way you have a nice, there we go, continuation from the coat that's gold that's going into the coat that's blue. And then I'll also say one thing to everyone. I will answer some questions after I'm done because I can't see all the questions while I'm grooming. I'm here in the salon today by myself. So if you have questions, by all means, feel free to ask them, but I will get to some of those questions toward the end of this. And so anyway, so I've just skimmed that off, worked on my length there, and like I said, from the occiput forward, I brush forward, and then I'm gonna come in underneath of the chin, and I'm gonna take, again, that yellow comb, and I'm gonna go against the grain and take everything just a little bit shorter and just set my length this way. And right now, and then I'll come back and do some of the finished work, but I'm just taking some of that length off here. And then, even though we're working on the head, because I want to make the head pop, I'm going to take the chest area down shorter. So I'm going to grab a 5 comb, and which is the red comb, and then I'm just going to pull off some of this hair here. Again, I just want to make this head really pop. So my starting point with that is about a little bit above the Adam's apple. And I'm just going to literally take some of that hair down, and then I can come back when I work on the body, which will be another day, and then blend the chest into the leg area. So I've got all of that set. And like I said, Miley's a great little girl. Again, against the grain underneath of the chin, and that just sets my length there. And then I leave this ear fringe. And the reason I do, again, is because her ears are a little bit set wide apart, and they're a little big for her head. And with that being said, I want to kind of mask the fact that she's got these huge ears on this little teeny tiny body. And so then all I do is I come in, and I'm going to try to stay out of the way so everybody can see. And I brush from the occiput forward, remember we're about a fingertip forward, and I'm going to use a pair of thinners, and I'm literally going to just take this hair away. And I'm going from the outside corner of the eye to the outside corner of the eye. And a lot of people, I'm sure, are saying, well, why are you using thinners instead of a pair of curves? And that's a great question, so I'm going to answer my own question. And the reason I'm using thinners again is because I was talking earlier about her coat texture being real silky. And with the coat texture being real silky, I want to keep everything looking a little bit more natural. And that way you're not going to see scissor marks coming into this coat. And so I literally go outside corner of the eye, and I go about 1/4 of an inch past the outside corner of the eye on both sides. Say, that's a good girl. And then just kind of brush that hair away and brush it up. And then just to see what I have. And if you can see, like right in the center here, I've got some sticky outies that are coming right down into her eye. So what I do is I just come in and take a pair of my blenders and I just pop that off. And again, I have her mouth, a real gentle hand on her. So I have her underneath of her chin, but that way she can't yank and try to bite at the scissors or anything like that. Even though I've groomed her umpteen times, you know, safety again is always a big factor here. And so then I'm just going to take all of this hair here and blend it into the work that I use with the yellow attachment comb, and to give you just a nice little finish. And so I kind of have a dome here, and then you just brush everything forward. And then anything that's sticking out over that visor that I set, I just take off. So again, you can do this head pretty quickly. And then just kind of brush it back, and I always say step back and take a look and see what it looks like. Say, that's a good girl. And then I'm going to just move on, and I'm going to come into the underneath, and I literally am going to take my thinners, and I have my hand underneath of her so she can't open her mouth. Again, safety is a big thing, and that always comes first. And then I'm just going to take a straight line, come underneath, and then brush everything out. And I can't tell you how important it is to always continue to brush while you're scissoring and stop and take a look. Because you want to make sure that you don't have any tangles in the coat, because the coat's going to lay different. And you're not going to have the same beautiful finish with a fresh, clean, beautifully brushed out and combed out trim. So I've got my area here, so I've got her beard nice and short. And then I just literally come in where her muzzle is, and I'm going to brush that hair forward. And then I'm lightly, again, I have my finger in front of her mouth so she can't lick my finger or the scissors. And then I'm just going to angle this at about a 45-degree angle. And I'm going to take off this extra hair. That's a good girl. And again, I'm at about a 45-degree angle. And then I just brush everything down. And I have her behind her ears, but I also have her underneath, so I can't have so she can't lick my shears. And then I'm just coming around. There you go, pretty girl. Okay, so now I have that area set. And then I want to just put a little lift in these ears, because they are, everything in her head is layered. And then I have these longer ears. So what I do is I just come in here, and again, I comb this area out and just pull it out. And I'm going to take my thinning shears, and I'm just going to hit it 3 times. And on the front of the ear, and then I'm going to come in the back of the ear. And again, hit it 3 times, and then just comb that out. That way it's going to give me a little bit of lift so she doesn't look so droopy. And at the same time, keep it nice and natural. So when I'm finished, I've got just a cute little layered head, and then just kind of see if you have any other sticky outies going on any place. And then there you go. So I know we do a lot of teddy bear heads and heads that are similar to this. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I get kind of tired of doing the same thing over and over again, because we are artists and we like to be creative and try different things. So with that being said, let's say you're tired of doing a head similar to this, and you have a client that wants something, a little more fancy or a little different. So what I do now is I'm going to come in and change it up just a little. So I'm going to take my purple comb and attachment comb, and that is a 4, and I'm going to come up against the grain, and I'm going to take this even shorter. This is great to do on geriatric dogs, because I don't know if you can see yet, but Miley doesn't have any teeth. And so her tongue sticks out all the time. And so with that being said, she gets a lot of food hung up in her beard and all of that stuff. So I'm going to take that shorter, And then I'll come in, and again, being very careful to make sure, let's just put her right here, there you go. Say, you are a good girl, Miss Miley. To make sure, now I have to be careful of the tongue because I'm so short. So I've literally taken my finger and I've pushed her tongue back in, and I have her tongue in my hand. But I'm going to take this even shorter. So again, I used the purple comb for that. And I'm real short here. And then I'm going to change it out one more time and use that 0 comb, or no, not the 0, sorry, the 5 comb, and I'm going to, which is the red, and I'm going to pull some of that area off. And then I come in, and make sure you all can see, and I'm going to pull this ear fringe back that I just thinned out. And I'm literally going to just lightly grab a hold of the ear, pull that ear fringe back, and I'm going to take my clipper and I'm going to come right up to the corner of the eye and take all that hair off. So let me just show you, basically. And so you can see I still have some hair that needs to come off. So I just take this, and again, I'm leaving that ear fringe, that's key. And if they don't have a lot of ear fringe, you can mask with some of the hair that's on top of the head to hold down in front. And then I do the same thing to the other side. Remember, whatever you do to one side, even if it's a mistake, it's always a good idea to do it to the other side because then it's symmetrical. And the owners most of the time won't notice. So, coming back over here, and again, I lightly have her head so she's comfortable, but also so she's nice and safe. And then I pull that area back. So I'm from the outside corner of the ear, and actually I could come up a little further here, and I take it right to the corner of her eye. And be careful not to come in underneath of her eye. You don't want to dish that out. So I have a nice square piece. And again, this is great to do on older dogs because a lot of times, like Miley, she has a lot of food gunked into her mouth and around her, jaw, all over the place when she comes in. So I have both sides that are cut in. So what I'm going to do is outside corner of the eye, and I go right with her skull, and I take it right to the ear, and I just thin this out, just to give me a more natural look. But I leave this fringe right here, so you can see the line here. Okay, and then same thing on this side. So I brushed everything back, and then I brushed it forward because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to get into the ear fringe. My thinning shears are flat to the head, and I go right to the outside corner of the eye, straight line down, so it's kind of like almost a brick shape that I'm going for here. And then I take that ear fringe and just kind of blend that in. And again, then I'll come back in and I'll clean up a little bit, because remember I said I wanted the head to pop, so I take this a little bit shorter. And you can even use this red comb and go up against the grain. And again, her mom is going to love this because we are not going to have a lot of food stuck in her mouth and around her mouth when she comes back in for grooming, which is wonderful, because that stuff gets to where it gets kind of stinky. So I've got her set in now this way. So let's see if we can get a full. So you can see I've got a brick, straight line here, and a straight line here. So remember when I said that we were gonna, when we did our clipper work, we were gonna take everything behind the occiput? That gives me a little bit more flexibility too, because now what I'm gonna do is I can come back in here and I can shape this even more. And again, I wanna make sure I keep my my thinning shears flush to the skull here. So I'm gonna just take this straight up. Now I will just give you a little bit of warning. Once you take off this chin hair, it's a little challenging to hold on to the dog, so always leave a little bit that you can hold on to, or you might even have to gently place your finger on the muzzle and use that hair and maybe just cut that area last, and just better safe than sorry. Especially if you have a wiggly Yorkie, which let's face it, most Yorkies are really wiggly. This little gem is an angel, and she probably is the best Yorkie I've ever groomed in terms of behavior. And unfortunately, they don't all come that way, but that's all right. That's what makes this breed so much fun. And so anyway, I've created this shape here now, and you can just start to see this evolving. So I have some of the hair up here that's coming in front of the ears so I have a little bit more ear fringe. I do want to make sure this hair is even on both sides. So again, just take the thinning shears, and whichever thinning shears, you like, and whatever is comfortable for you is what I would recommend. And then I come in and pull a little bit of this hair right out of the center. And again, that's just to keep this hair from popping down, because every owner wants to see the beautiful face of their puppy. And it doesn't matter what breed they are, they want to see their face. And I don't blame them, because they're beautiful. And so what I'm going to do now is I just take my thinning shears and I make my straight line, and I just carry it all the way down. Again, make sure you don't dish in. You don't want to come in underneath of the eye. So you don't want to come in this way, because if you do that, then the dog's going to look kind of hollow and a little bit hollowed out. So just bring that in straight line, and just think of the shape of a brick. Same thing over here. And remember too, if you cut a piece of hair that you didn't mean to, don't sweat it. It's hair, it grows back. If you do that, which we all do, just make the other side match, and just go on with it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this area a little bit shorter and blend all of this in. And then she's got a couple pieces of hair that's sticking out here. Very carefully, I have my finger underneath gently and my finger on the top of her head, so she can't, again, do anything and try to lick my shears. But I just clean that area up. Oops. There you go, pretty girl. And then you can take a quick peek to see, and I still have a little bit too much hair on the back of her head, so I'm going to come back with my Pulse ZR, and again, love it because it's cordless. Also, the ZR2 has a battery life of 2 hours, but a running time of 3. So just think of how many dogs we can get groomed with that length of time with using the same clipper on the same charge. That's another reason this is a great clipper to have. So, but anyway, I'm going to come back and I'm just going to layer a little bit more of this hair on the back side, but I'm keeping the length. And then that just gives me a nice, let me look at it from this side. So if you can see, all of this is just nicely blending in, and it's keeping it a little bit more natural. And then I can just come in and take my thinning shears and just clean this up a tiny bit. And in a very quick amount of time, you have this cute little head. So we went from just a traditional, teddy bear style head to something that's just a little bit more fun and that the client can enjoy. And it's, like I said, it's great for dogs that are older, because then you don't have any hair that the food can get stuck in, especially because a lot of the dogs, when they have no teeth, they eat canned food and that kind of stuff. So then you have this cute little head. And again, so what I did was, we'll just review, 30 blade on the ears, again, using the cordless Pulse, 30 blade right between the eyes, and I didn't go down the muzzle, but one thing I will do is I will just blend that area in by using my thinning shears. Then I went, so when I did the yellow attachment comb, I took right above the occiput, I went one finger length in front of the occiput, which is right in the center of the head. So right here is the occiput. I came right in front, and everything that was behind that, I took the yellow attachment comb and literally just blended that in. And then one other thing, when I use the attachment combs, I always use a 30 blade underneath of that. So that's a good thing to take note of. So anyway, yellow comb behind, 30 blade on both ears, 30 blade here. Then I came in with my 5 comb, which is the red comb, the little comb right here. And then I actually went from the corner of the eye to a little bit in front of the ear, so you can see right here. So from corner of the eye to in front of the ear, so not even an inch. And I cleared all of that hair off. And with that attachment comb, both sides. And then I took the red comb underneath. I actually started with the purple comb and then I shortened it with the red comb. Underneath, I went against the grain, so that's nice and short. And then on the chest here, in order to make the head pop, I used the red comb again. So it was real simple. 3 combs, red, purple, and yellow. A 30 blade underneath of the Andis Pulse ZR. Tipped the ears, went 1/3 of the way down on both sides. And then when I set the visor, I went from outside corner of the eye to outside corner of the eye in order to create that dome shape. And again, I like to go outside corner of the eye to outside corner because owners want to see their face. And a lot of times what I see is sometimes we'll go like in the middle of the eye, and for me then the hair falls in and then the owners don't get to see their face, and then what they normally do is they want you to go shorter and shorter and shorter. So in my experience, what I found is if I go a 1/4 of an inch outside corner of the eye, 1/4 of an inch outside corner of the eye, and then I can basically do just about any length because the owners are able to see the dog's face. And like I said, that's one of the most important things to them, besides them being nice and clean and their groom being neat, is they want to see these cute little faces that they have. So that should do it. And then I literally just come in here and comb everything up and just see if I have anything sticking out. And I don't, so we're good there. And then another variation that you can do, now I can't do it here because I don't have the hair, but let's say you had the owner, you wanted, her to have a ponytail. So rather than clipping this in the front, so in front of the occiput, what I would do is I would go outside corner of the eye to outside corner of the eye, and I would put a ponytail in here, and then I could still do the red attachment comb on both sides of their face, the purple on their chin, the red on their chest, and then the yellow attachment comb from behind the occiput and wrap it back behind the ears to get that nice natural, oops, see, that's never a good sound, to get that nice natural blend from the back of the head going into the body. So again, that gives you just an overview of how you can achieve this cute little head. And it gives you 2 different styles. So, and again, using the same tools basically, and all of that good stuff. And so, and this is a great, like I said, this is a great trim for your older dogs, or if you have somebody that just wants something a little bit different. And then it's always fun that you can finish your style off with a cute little bandana or some kind of neck guard, piece or something like that. If you want to use, if you have a dog that has heavier coat and doesn't have this silk coat, rather than using my thinning shears, I would have actually come in and just used a pair of curved shears. Other than the fact that when I'm blending from the corner of the eye down, straight down on both sides, so blending from here straight down, that area I still would use my thinning shears just so I could have a nice natural blend from the corner of the eye in this area that's in here. And again, using a little bit of the hair to get some of this ear fringe. And if you have a dog that has ears that are already, cut real short, I would still recommend just doing the trick of the, 3 times with the thinning shear. And remember, when you hit it 3 times with the thinning shear, not in the same location. So you want to move that thinning shear out. So you would come, like 1, 2, 3. But that way it will give the dog a little bit of a lift in that area. And so that's wonderful. And again, slicker brush, always use this for my initial prep work, and then the Andis comb, you can't go wrong with this. Prep work is everything, so you have to make sure that your dogs, regardless of the breed, they got to be clean and they've got to be brushed out and combed out so they don't have any mats or tangles. And that's what's so fabulous, like I said, about the Andis poodle comb. I can't tell you again how many thousands of dogs I groomed with this one particular comb. And everything's still intact with it. It is my go-to. You can't beat it. So Thank you for joining me today. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Hopefully I can answer those for you. You can also follow me on social media, and you can just send me a friend request on Facebook or on Instagram. And I appreciate your time. I hope you guys stay nice and warm and all that good stuff. And I hope you all had some great, got a little bit out of it, and some great tricks on how to achieve that perfect Yorkie head. So you guys stay warm, stay healthy, and I look forward to seeing you all in person, hopefully sometime in the near future. So you all take care, and we'll go from there. Have a good one, you guys.